Matthew 7, verse number 6. When you have it, say amen. Amen. Let's read it together. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. You may be seated. I want to speak today from the subject, know the value of your testimony. Look at your neighbor and tell him, you need to know the value of your testimony. Come on, look at your other neighbor and tell him, you need to know. Oh, y'all ain't saying that like you need to say it. Look at him and say, you need to know the value of your testimony. Amen. Jesus gives a command here in this passage, and it is a strong command. He says, never cast your pearls before swine. I want to speak to you for a moment on how a pearl is made. A natural pearl forms in a bivalve mollusk when the shell has been invaded by a parasite. A parasite, which is an organism that lives on or in another species known as the host, from which the body it obtains nutrient. So a parasite, something that refuses to get its own, will take up residence in the shell of this bivalve mollusk to attach itself to live off this shell. This parasite burrows itself through the outer shell into what is called the mother of pearl, which is beneath the outer shell. When the parasite penetrates the mother of pearl, it comes in contact with something that's very, very important. It's called the mollusk mantle muscle. And it's very, very important. It's the mollusk mantle muscle. Can you say that? Mollusk mantle. I want you to highlight that word. Say mollusk. And now lift your voice. Mantle muscle. It comes in contact with this muscle. Now in this muscle there are cells, and these cells produce a substance called nacre. This nacre coats the inside of that shell. So when the parasite lodges itself in the mantle, eventually what happens is that it dies. And the defense reaction of the mollusk is to perform the releasing of nacre to create a sac around this invader. Everybody say an invader. Come on, say it again, an invader. And when this sac is developed around this invader, the mollusk sac begins to release nacre over top of this parasite over a period of 2 to 4 years until a pearl is developed. Until a pearl is developed. Now, finding a pearl ain't easy, because in order to obtain the richest of pearls, divers have to dive to the bottoms of the ocean and the sea many times. And in diving, when they finally pick shells up from the sea floor, they have to pry them open. Then they have to dig through the muscle to to find this treasure that this shell has created through invasion. Some might say invasion. Now this is important in the passage that we're reading today. The passage was clear. It said to us, neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them underfoot and then turn on you. The word before is the Greek word emprothen. And this word means that someone takes time to make a presentation of something to another person. So here I am going through certain things in life so that I could present you something valuable. He says, look, you got to be careful that you understand the process that it took to get what you have. Because whenever you share what you have with somebody else, you are sharing the process as well. So if I'm not careful and I simply give my information to you, or counsel or advice or whatever to people, and you don't know who you're talking to, in reality, this person will actually devalue the gift. So they do not care about your story, and they don't care that much about you. So he says, do not cast your pearls before swine. Don't make a huge production for someone who doesn't know what they're receiving, because they eventually dishonor you. What is Jesus saying? Don't waste your time, energy, or money on honoring individuals who don't care about what you're doing for them. There are some people who you trying to bless, you trying to help them, you trying to see them get it, you trying to advance them, but they keep trampling underfoot what you're saying and doing. And the reason is because they don't know what it cost you to get what you're telling them for free. And so it's very, very important that we see this Greek word, emprothen. When you are going to present under the context of this word, you would be dressed for the occasion. So in other words, I'm getting ready to present you the best I have, and so I dress up to give it to you. I get everything prepared to give it to you. And then when I finally share it with you, you look at it like and say, is that all? Jesus said, don't waste your time on people who don't care. Look at your neighbor and say, don't waste your time on people who don't care. Now, I'm trying to help somebody here today. You gotta know that there's value to what you have. Now, I want you to understand something. Pigs are consumers. They take. My cousin sitting here, Sister Murphy, her mother and father had a farm in Alabama and still do. And on that farm, when we go down and visit, they had pigs. Why don't you understand something about those pigs? Those pigs provided no value to that farm until they were dead. The whole time they're living, they're sitting over there in slop, waiting for us to go down to the pig pen and throw them something. So they're on the farm to receive. They're not there to contribute. You clean them up, they head right back for the slop, because they don't appreciate the effort you put in to get them together. They never contribute anything, like I said, until they die. And this is exactly what it's like when people don't appreciate the holy things, the true things, the right things that God have deposited in you through your testimony to give to them. And so you've got mindless people sitting in church, mindless people in your house sometimes, mindless people on your job, mindless people who you are feeling assigned to help them. But I want to help you today. Quit helping people who have a bad attitude about the help you're trying to offer. Listen to what Jesus said in this same passage, but in another translation. Never invest too much time, energy, or money into people who don't even care about what you're doing for them. I'm commanding you to not share your pearls, those precious details, experiences, and parts of your life that have cost you so much, with people who live and act like ungrateful pigs. Why is he saying this? He said, because if you aren't careful, not only are they going to step on your pearls, but they're going to turn, and he says they will trample them and then rend you. So not only will they devalue you and what you're doing for them, they will turn back and say, you didn't love me. You didn't care about me. And so it's an effort because they have not paid attention to what you really deposited in them. You got to know that what you have is valuable. Look at somebody and tell them, my story is valuable. Oh yes, it cost me something to get this story. And so you got to quit acting like the world is rising and falling on that one person you trying to get to listen to what you got to say to them. That one person you trying to help. That one person you keep calling. That one person you keep chasing down. That one person that keep putting you through all that stuff you keep going through for that one person, when there's 5 other people waiting on your story. There's 5 other people who are willing to hear what you've been through and the wisdom you've garnered by your experience. And so you don't cast your pearls. And so let's get a couple of witnesses. The first witness is a man by the name of Elijah.